Welcome back to Dravin's Den. It's Monday, and if you're like most people, you woke up today with a mix of motivation and mild confusion about how the weekend disappeared so fast. You had plans. You were going to reset, get ahead, be productive, and somehow life happened instead. And here's the thing, while you were out there navigating your week, history, history doesn't slow down. It doesn't wait for you to catch up. It doesn't pause so you can regroup. It just keeps moving. And this week, people made decisions under pressure. Some quiet, some explosive, and some that changed the direction of everything that came after. So take a second. Settle in. Let's step into it. This is Draven's Den. April 27th. The ones you don't notice first. 1822. Ulysses S. Grant is born. There was nothing about Grant early on that screamed greatness. He wasn't the loudest. Wasn't chasing attention. Wasn't trying to stand out. If anything, he blended in. And that's what makes his story interesting. Because when the Civil War hit, when everything was uncertain, chaotic, and high stakes, Grant didn't freeze. He didn't overthink. He acted. While other generals hesitated or tried to protect their reputations, Grant moved forward. Calm, direct, relentless. And over time, that consistency built trust. Not because he was perfect, but because he didn't fold under pressure. Sometimes history isn't shaped by the most charismatic person in the room. It's shaped by the one who stays steady when everything else isn't. April 28th. Pressure doesn't stay quiet forever. 1789. Mutiny on the Bounty. Imagine being on a ship for months. No real privacy. No escape. Same people, same commands, every single day. At first, you adjust. You tell yourself it's temporary. But over time, small frustrations start stacking. A harsh word here, a decision that feels unfair there. And slowly, something starts building beneath the surface. That's what happened on HMS Bounty. Captain William Bligh was known for strict discipline, sometimes crossing the line into something his crew couldn't tolerate. And Fletcher Christian, his limit had been reached. On April 28, 1789, the crew took control. Bligh and Loyalists were set adrift in a small boat, left to survive on open water. And here's what makes it powerful. That moment didn't come out of nowhere. It was the result of everything that came before it. Because most breaking points in history aren't sudden. They're built. April 29th, when power runs out of time. 1945. The collapse tightens. By late April of 1945, the war in Europe was ending, but not cleanly. Berlin was falling. The sound of artillery echoed through the city. And underground, Adolf Hitler sat in a bunker, cut off from reality, and everything he built unraveled. This wasn't the image of power the world had seen before. There were no crowds. No speeches, no control. Just the quiet realization that there was nowhere left to go. He married Eva Braun in those final hours, and within a day, they were both gone. Above them, a city was being torn apart, and around them, the regime that once seemed unstoppable was finished. Because no matter how powerful something appears at its peak, if it's built on destruction, it doesn't last. April 30th. The quiet moves that change everything. 1803. The Louisiana Purchase. Not every turning point comes with a battle. Some come with a signature. In 1803, the United States made a deal with France, acquiring over 800,000 square miles of land. Think about that for a second. The size of a country doubled overnight. No invasion, no war, just timing. Napoleon needed resources for conflict in Europe. America needed room to grow. And in that moment, both sides got what they needed. But that's interesting in how quiet it was. No spectacle, no dramatic takeover. Just a decision that would shape the future of a nation for generations. Because sometimes the biggest moves in history are the ones that don't make noise. May 1st, change doesn't happen comfortably. International Workers' Movement. There was a time when the idea of an 8-hour workday just didn't exist. People worked long hours in dangerous conditions and were expected to accept it. That was just, how things were. Until people started pushing back. Not all at once, not in one clean moment, but in waves. Protests, strikes, organizing. People demanding something better. May 1st became a symbol of that fight. A reminder that progress doesn't come with waiting patiently. It comes from people deciding they're done settling. Because history doesn't change when things are easy. It changes when people refuse to keep going the way things are. May 2nd, Seeing Beyond Your Time. 1519, Leonardo da Vinci dies. Leonardo da Vinci lived in a world that wasn't ready for him. He painted masterpieces, but that wasn't all. He filled notebooks with ideas, flying machines, mechanical designs, anatomical studies, things that wouldn't fully exist for centuries. He wasn't just observing the world. He was imagining what it would become. And when he died in 1519, he left behind more than work. He left behind possibility. Because the people who truly change history aren't just reacting to their time. They're thinking beyond it. May 3rd, when innovation gets misused. 1978, the first most annoying thing on the face of this planet, almost. The first spam email. Yes, 1978. It didn't seem like a big deal at the time. One message, sent out to hundreds of users, advertising a product. That was it. But that moment opened a door. Because once communication becomes easy, it almost becomes exploitable. Fast forward to now. And your inbox is full of things you didn't ask for. You didn't sign up for it, and definitely don't want. It's a small example, but a real one. Every innovation solves a problem, but it also creates new ones. All right, today's entry, or this week's entry, and what the hell, people? This week's entry is about confidence without awareness. As a protected historical site, clear signs were posted. Barriers were in place. The message could not have been simpler. Do not climb this. So naturally, people climbed. Because the photo would, look better for Instagram. And for a few seconds, that decision probably felt worth it. Until security showed up. And the situation changed quickly. It's wild when you think about it. A structure that survived centuries of history. Almost taken out by a group chat moment. At that point, you've got to ask, is the picture really worth becoming part of the problem? Let's slow this down for a second. History isn't just what happened out there. It's what happened at home. Your family's story matters. The choices, the sacrifices, the moments that shaped everything after. If you've got one, send it in. Because those stories matter. They're just as important as anything we talk about here. So send it in to dravinsden@gmail.com, and I'll put it on the air. This week isn't about one moment. It's about pressure. Pressure builds slowly. In leadership, in systems, in people. And eventually, something gives. Sometimes it creates progress. Sometimes it creates collapse. And sometimes it creates something entirely unexpected. That's the pattern. And the longer you pay attention to history, the more you realize it's not separate from us. It's not something that already happened. It's something we're actively a part of. Right now, in real time, every choice you make, every moment you hesitate or act, it all adds up. Because one day, what feels ordinary now becomes part of the story. Well, I'd like to wish everybody a May the 4th be with you. I'm Stan Miles, and that's the rest of history. Stay sharp.